Meet the Tiger by Stefan, Casta, and Anna Viktorsson. Tigers never get lost. Adapted quote from Winnie the Pooh. Welcome to the tiger's world. A tiger is the largest cat in the world. It's one of the strongest, mightiest predators on Earth. It's probably one of the best loved animals as well. And it's not hard to see why. The tiger is special. It's extra everything. A beautiful stripy cat that's 3 meters long, including its tail, and can weigh up to 300 kilos. This book tells you everything you need to know, and even a little bit more, about this amazing animal. You'll also find out the latest news about tiger research and about the major conservation efforts to increase the number of tigers on Earth. What we hope is that as you read this book, you will become a friend of tigers, a friend who can help to spread knowledge about them. At the end of the book is a fun tiger test where you can try out your newfound knowledge. Tiger tracks. A male tiger's paw prints can be 14 to 17 centimeters long and 13 to 16 centimeters wide. In snow, they can be even bigger. A male tiger's head can be almost 30 centimeters wide. That's about twice as wide as a fully grown human head. So I'm an adult, just to show their hands are as big as mine. And my hands are pretty small. Okay, how a tiger works. We're going to start with the eyes. Eyes. Sight is one of the tiger's most important tools when hunting. At night, tigers can see 6 times better than we can. Whiskers. Provide information about wind direction and air pressure. They act as a feeler for moving around in the dark. The nose. Can sense different smells from several kilometers away. Teeth. The 4 long, sharp canine teeth are a deadly weapon when the tiger catches prey. Ears. Tigers have excellent hearing, which they use to hunt. The way their ears move reveals what mood the tiger is in and what it is planning to do. So they're not mentioning it here, but they also have big white spots on the back of their ears. And those are to mimic eyes so that if someone else comes up on them, they think, oh no, the tiger is looking at me. Anyway, front legs. The tiger is incredibly strong and can knock large prey animals over with their body weight and powerful front legs. Claws. Can be up to 10 centimeters long. Used to hold prey down and to make claw marks on trees when marking territory. Paws. They have larger paws than other big cats. The skin between the toes acts as webbing in the water. Stripes. A tiger has about 100 stripes. Each animal has its own pattern, which acts as an ID card. The stripes provide perfect camouflage. This means it helps them to not get spotted. How a tiger works. Tigers in cold regions have 5 centimeter long fur on their back and up to 10 centimeters on their stomach. In warm region, their fur is only 1 centimeter long. Tail. Provides important information about how the tiger is feeling and what it is planning to do. Anal gland. Produces a scent that's unique to each individual animal, used to mark territory. Territory is a tiger's home, an area it defends against other tigers. Pee. Tigers pee on trees to indicate that this territory is taken. When another tiger smells the tree, it can tell how old the tiger is and whether it's male or female. Poop. Also used to mark territory. Each tiger's poop has a unique smell. Tiger is a large-hearted gentleman with boundless courage. Jim Corbett, legendary hunter and founder of India's first national park, 1936. Where the tiger lives. Many people believe that tigers live in Africa. This is not true. They only live in Asia. They used to be found all over Asia, from Turkey in the west to China in the east. However, their distribution has declined dramatically. Today, there are only 4,000 wild tigers left. 100 years ago, there were 100,000. Wow, so that's 4%. We lost 96% of tigers. Wow. The general belief is that there are 13 countries where tigers still exist, but it is uncertain whether there are any in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. So there may actually only be 10 countries left. However, the future seems to be looking brighter. In recent years, the number of tigers has started to rise. This is not something that happens by itself. It's the result of a major international conservation effort. Countries like India, Russia, Nepal, and Bhutan are working successfully to improve the situation for tigers. The aim is that by 2022, the year of the tiger in the Chinese calendar, there should be twice as many tigers in Asia as there were in 2010. Why are there no tigers in Africa? It is quite odd that there are no tigers in Africa. They would probably be just as happy there as they are in Asia. Nowadays, of course, there is no room at the top of the food chain. Food chain. Everything living feeds on something else living. Food on Earth is in constant motion, and the great predators are at the top of the food chain. So if you think about it, the lion eats the gazelle, and the gazelle eats the grass. That's a chain. Other big cats have taken this position, particularly the lion. The cheetah migrated along the long road from America via Asia to Africa several million years ago. And they can still be found in Africa and in Afghanistan, which is in Asia. But the tiger never made that journey. Perhaps it was happy with life in Asia? The phantom gets it wrong. The phantom has the power of 10 tigers, according to an old jungle saying in the comic strip The Phantom, one of the first superheroes. In the phantom's world, there are plenty of tigers, even though it's on the east coast of Africa. Tigers around the world. Total, about 4,000 tigers. The tigers in countries like Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Turkey have been extinct since the 1970s. Okay. Kazakhstan, 0. Plans to reintroduce tigers. Nepal, 198. Numbers are growing. Tiger conservation is strongly supported by the Nepalese government. Some problems with poaching. Bhutan. The numbers are growing. There are large protected areas in Bhutan. Oh, that says 103. China, 45. Uncertain figure. Many tigers are roaming in from Russia. Numbers are likely to double in the next few years. Efforts to introduce prey animals and clear poacher snares are underway. Major problems with poaching, smuggling, and selling of tiger products. India, 2,226. Numbers are growing, situation under control, but poaching does exist. Bangladesh, 106. Numbers have fallen dramatically. Burma, 20 to 50. Uncertain figures. Tigers are moving along the border with Thailand. Thailand, 150 to 250. Uncertain figures. Numbers have fallen but are now increasing slightly on the border with Burma. Cambodia. The last tiger was seen in 2007. Plans to reintroduce tigers. Sumatra, 400 to 500. Uncertain figures. Numbers are currently being counted. Major problems with poaching and forest logging. So, forest logging is when they cut down trees to like build homes and stuff and get wood, or just to clear the forest so that they have a field to grow food on. And when you do that, because tigers live in forests, it takes away from their natural habitat, and it can also reduce the number of prey animals and whatnot. Okay, Vietnam, question mark. Uncertain whether there are any tigers left. Laos, question mark. Uncertain whether there are any tigers left. Malaysia, 250 to 340. Uncertain figures. Problems with poaching using snares. Russia, 433. Numbers have risen significantly since the Second World War. They are now slowly spreading to the north into China. Situation under control. Java and Bali. Tigers are extinct. 9 tigers became 2. People used to believe that there were 9 types or subtypes of tigers. In recent years, however, scientists have found that this is probably not true. There are not 9 different species, but probably just 2. In science, all the animals on Earth have Latin names. This is so that scientists in different countries who speak different languages can use the same animal names. This makes it much easier to understand what animals they're talking about. All the animals have a genus name and a species name. The tiger belongs to the Panthera genus, and its species is named tigris. So the whole scientific name is Panthera tigris. This name was given to the tiger by Swedish natural scientist Carl von Linne, better known as Linnaeus, in 1758. If there are tigers that are different to others, they are given a third name. These are the names of the old subspecies: Bengal tiger, Panthera tigris tigris; Indo-Chinese tiger, Pantheris tigris corbeti; South China tiger, Panthera tigris amoyensis, found in captivity only; Javan tiger, Pantherin tigris sondaica, extinct; Bali tiger, Panthera tigris balica, extinct; Sumatran tiger, Panthera tigris sumatrae; Caspian tiger, Panthera tigris virgata, extinct; Siberian tiger, Amur tiger, Panthera tigris altaica; Malayan tiger, Panthera tigris jacksoni; Mainland tiger. However, the latest research shows that there are only 2 kinds of tigers. Mainland tiger, Panthera tigris tigris. All tigers who live on the mainland belong to the subspecies. Island tiger, Panthera tigris sondaica. Tigers in Sumatra belong to this subspecies. Good news. It's very good news that scientists have shown that all mainland tigers belong to the same subspecies. This means that tigers can be moved from areas where there are many of them to places where they are extinct or very low in number. Biologists think that this will make it easier to help the tiger populations grow. Yet to know the tigers of Asia. Even so, there are some differences between the tigers in different parts of Asia. Here's a brief introduction to them and the nature they live in. Mainland tiger / Siberian tiger, Amur tiger, lives in far-reaching leafy and pine forests along the Amur River in eastern Russia, close to the border with China and Korea. This is a very harsh climate. In the winter, the temperature can drop to 40 degrees Celsius below zero or even lower. A male weighs between 200 and 300 kilograms. Their coat is thick and long and quite light. The Siberian tiger has fewer stripes than the other species. Mainland tiger / Bengal tiger lives in jungles, rainforests, and mangrove forests in India, Bhutan, Nepal, and Bangladesh. A male weighs up to 260 kilograms, the largest of the subspecies along with the Siberian tiger. The Bengal tiger has very dark stripes. Mainland tiger / Indo-Chinese tiger lives in forested mountains and hills in Burma, Thailand, and China. Also used to exist in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, but they are now believed to be extinct. Smaller than a Bengal tiger. A male can weigh up to 195 kilograms. The stripes are very narrow and close together. Mainland tiger / South China tiger. In the mid-20th century, there were about 4,000 of these tigers, and they were found in southern China. Today, not a single wild tiger remains. A male weighs up to 200 kilograms. The coat is more reddish than that of the Bengal tiger and has short black stripes, which are further apart. We don't have any white tigers here. Mainland tiger / Malayan tiger, found only in the rainforests of the Malay Peninsula. Very similar to the Indo-Chinese tiger. A male can weigh up to 130 kilograms. An important symbol of Malaysia, where it is called Uncle Stripes. Aw, that's cute. Island tiger, found only in the rainforests and mangrove forests of Sumatra. A male weighs up to 140 kilograms. They also used to be found on the islands of Java and Bali, but they are now extinct there because of hunting. A small, agile tiger that moves quickly in dense vegetation. It has long whiskers and a darker coat with narrow stripes. Which tiger is the biggest? The Siberian or Amur tiger is often said to be far larger than the others. However, scientists are not convinced. Their research shows there is no evidence of any difference between the Bengal tiger and the Siberian tiger. In actual fact, their findings suggest that they are roughly the same size. Better to live 1 year as a tiger than 100 as a sheep. Madonna. At home with the tiger. Tigers are almost always alone. They live by themselves in their own territories, where other tigers are normally never allowed to go. They mark their territory with pee, claw marks, and poo. When another tiger sees and smells these things, they know the area is taken. If they go into another tiger's territory anyway, there can be some violent fighting. Females also live in their own territory. Their territory is often inside a male's territory. It's almost impossible to see a tiger. During the day, they mainly sleep, just like any other cat. They don't live anywhere in particular, but often sleep in dense, brushy vegetation. Not until dusk, when darkness starts to fall, do they set out hunting. Then, and early mornings are the best times to see them. But you have to look very closely because the stripes on a tiger's coat help it blend into its surroundings. One tiger scientist says that he has stood 10 meters away from a tiger without seeing it. Oh, that's probably very, very scary. The males and females only come together when they are mating. The female is in estrus or heat. In estrus or in heat means that the female is ready to mate. So she's ready to have babies. For about 2 days, but in that short time, the animals can mate almost 100 times. As soon as the estrus is over, the tigers go back to their own territories. Tiger cubs are born about 100 days after mating. There are usually 2 or 3 cubs in a litter, although there can be up to 6. A newborn tiger cub weighs just 1 kilo and will fit into the palm of an adult's hand. Newborn cubs are blind and helpless. To start with, they stay in their mother's protected hide, which could be a cave. When they are about 2 months old, they start following her on short walks. By then, they are already eating meat. The cubs suckle, or drink the mother's milk, until they are nearly 6 months old. They then stop drinking milk and join their mother on her hunts. When they are nearly a year old, they get their real teeth. Now they can start hunting themselves. As in, for themselves. They're not hunting each other. There are all kinds of dangers for a young tiger cub. About half of them die in the first 2 years. They may be killed by humans or other tigers. A male tiger may kill cubs if he is not their father, so that he can mate with the mother himself. The cubs may also starve or freeze to death or have an accident. That's what happens in nature. Lots of young and inexperienced animals die. The cubs stay in their mother's territory for about 2 years. They then start searching for their own territory. The young males roam far from their mother's territory, but young females often stay close to their mother. Sometimes the young females have territories that are partly in their mother's territory. So the reason why evolution does this is to prevent inbreeding. By having the males roam far, it lowers the likelihood that they're going to be mating with someone who's closely related to them. And the reverse is true if the females stay close. A tiger's territory. Sariska National Park in northern India is home to 9 tigers, 2 males and 7 females. All of the females' territories are inside one or other of the male's territories. A male territory is usually between 60 and 100 square kilometers. Females have around 20 square kilometers. In Russia, the territory may be 10 times larger because there are fewer prey animals there. So this is male tiger 1, this is male tiger 2, and each of these are an individual female tiger. So number 1 has 4 and number 2 has 3, even though number 2 has a bigger territory. That probably means that number 1 has more prey. Tiger guest. If a young male tiger is lucky, he might get to live as a guest in another male's territory. What happens sometimes, though, after a few years, is that the younger tiger challenges the older one and tries to take over the territory. How a tiger marks its territory. Tigers use special trees as boundary markers. They make deep scratch marks on the trees with their claws. They also spray pee on the trees. Then they rub their scent glands, which are near their bottom, against the trunk. A marked tree can be smelt from far away. Tigers also mark their territory by doing a poo in selected places. Each tiger's poop has a unique smell, which other tigers recognize. In Russia, special dogs have been trained to recognize different tigers just by smelling their scat or poo. Stalking lessons. Tiger cubs learn to stalk at an early age. It's an important part of their education and of playing. They sneak up on their mother, on each other, and on everything around them. These are their first tottering steps towards becoming super stalkers. Can be helpful. Tigers are loners who usually keep to themselves, but scientists have also discovered that there's another side to them. They can be far more friendly than we think. Tigers have been seen sharing their prey with other tigers they are not even related to. A male has even been seen helping a female bring up the cubs. However, this is thought to be very unusual. Facts about mating. Tigers usually mate between November and April, but they can actually mate at any time of the year. The female carries her baby for 93 to 112 days. This is called the gestation period. She has a litter of 1 to 6 cubs. The cubs open their eyes after 1 to 2 weeks. Females become sexually mature, that means that they can have babies, at the age of 3 to 4 years, and males become sexually mature at the age of 4 to 5 years. Can get quite old. If the cubs survived the first few tough years, they can live up to 15 to 20 years. Tigers living in zoos and safari parks can live up to 20 to 25 years. Individual tigers can live even longer. Learn how to speak tiger. How a tiger sends out a warning. If a tiger's ears are twisted so the white mark is showing and their mouth is kept closed, they're threatening to bite. If its ears are laid backwards and pressed against its head and its mouth is wide open, the tiger is both afraid and angry. Kind of like a cat. How a tiger says hello. When a tiger meets another tiger it knows, they say hello by curling their tails. Sometimes they rub their cheeks, heads, or even their whole bodies against each other. Signaling with their tails. Just like domestic cats, tigers signal with their tails. If the tip of the tail waves sideways, the tiger is excited and alert. After a while, its whole tail starts waving sideways. If its tail is completely straight and waves up and down, that means the tiger could attack at any moment. Again, like a cat. You see it twitching? That means that they're not very happy. Whereas if they're just, then they're fine, usually. Grunting, mewing, and roaring. When tigers are close to each other, they often speak in grunting throat sounds. You can often hear this in zoos. They also use a low mewing. When they are content, they purr, just like domestic cats. But when they talk to each other from a distance, they roar very loudly. People who have heard a tiger roar says it feels like the entire forest is shaking. Do not blame God for having created the tiger, but thank him for not giving it wings. An Indian proverb. Yeah. Okay, give me a second. Okay, quiet as a tiger. The tiger hunts alone. This is where the stalking skills it learnt as a cub come in handy. It is a master stalker, sneaking along in the dense forest on silent paws. Not a single crack is heard on the ground. It's quite incredible that an animal that weighs up to 300 kilos can move so quietly. Now and again, it stops to look around. It will soon reach the grazing deer on the open grassland. They suspect nothing. Thanks to the stripes on its coat and the shadows on the ground, the tiger is almost impossible to spot. All the stripes seem to erase the outline of its body. The tiger wants to get as close to the deer as possible, preferably within 20 meters, or ideally even closer. This will make the attack lightning quick, and the prey will be taken by complete surprise. This is how the tiger would like it to go. This is why it sometimes crawls along the ground on its stomach for the last few meters. Then all it has to do is wait. And the tiger is very good at waiting. It has tremendous patience. It doesn't take its eyes off the grazing animals, noting the very slightest movement. Sight is one of the tiger's most important senses. It notices that one of the deer is coming nearer. It's a sambar deer. Any moment now, it will be in the perfect position. The tiger almost always attacks either straight or diagonally from behind. Then the deer barely has time to realize what's going on. The tiger's powerful attack knocks the deer to the ground. Its strong canine teeth bite the deer in the throat. After a while, the deer dies, and the tiger drags it behind some bushes to hide it away. A deer is a good kill. It's just the right size. A sambar deer weighs over 200 kilos. A chital just under 100 kilos. The meat is enough to last several days. Once the tiger has the deer hidden, it eats as much as it can. If a male tiger is really hungry, it can eat up to 30 kilos, but normally it eats around 15 to 18 kilos. So keep in mind when they're talking about the weights up here, they're talking about like with the bone and everything else and stuff that you can't necessarily eat. Anyway, the tiger stays close to its kill for as long as there is still meat left. Sometimes it covers the dead animals with leaves and twigs. Once the dead animal has been completely eaten, the tiger has to try to take down a new one. This can take several days or even longer, because even if the tiger is very skilled, it often fails. This is what it's like for predators in nature. 9 out of 10 attacks result in no kill. Thankfully, the tiger can live without food for almost 2 weeks. Even though it's so good at stalking, quite often other animals notice it, usually monkeys. Suddenly their loud alarm call sounds throughout the jungle. The spotted chital deer are also very alert, and they have learnt to listen out for the ape's call. They immediately join in with their own alarm call, doo, 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 while stamping their hooves on the ground. When that happens, all the tiger can do is give up and start again. So one thing I want to note, because a lot of people say, how do animals miss a bright orange animal coming for you? Well, first of all, they're usually in darkness, so that cuts down on the orange factor quite a bit. But the other thing is, most animals, their vision does not work like ours works. They're often red-green colorblind, so they can't tell the difference between orange and a more greeny color. So this tiger kind of looks like a green and black blob to them. Weird, huh? The tiger's prey. Cervids, or deer species, and wild boar are the tiger's favorite prey. These are the animals it kills the most. Ideally, it wants an animal that weighs at least 90 kilos. Thankfully, cervids are very common. There are around 40 different deer species on Earth. Many of them are herd animals that graze in pasture land and forest glades. The most important prey animals for a tiger are sambar deer, chital, nilgai antelope, Indian long deer, barasingha deer, and muntjac deer. In Russia, the red deer and sika deer are common prey animals. In India, 6 out of 10 kills are samba deer. Many different prey animals. The tiger can kill a wide range of animals. It often kills rhesus macaques and other monkeys, also jungle fowl. Jungle fowl are the wild ancestors of today's domesticated chickens and other poultry, which there are plenty of. Another bird the tiger often kills is the handsome peacock. Another common prey is a kind of wild cow called a gaur, which can weigh over 1,000 kilos. Tigers sometimes even attack elephants and rhinos, but then it will choose young ones. Less common prey. The tiger's menu also includes a few more unusual prey animals, which you would only kill very rarely. These include wild dogs, leopards, bears, pythons, and crocodiles. Tigers have even been seen catching salmon in the river, much like bears sometimes do. A healthy break. Occasionally, tigers actually eat vegetarian. It likes the large green fruits of a tree called the kumbi, or slow match tree, which is common in India. Watch out for spines. One awkward quarry, another word for prey animal, is the porcupine, which the tiger sometimes eats. The tiger has to be careful though, because if one of the long spines gets stuck in its mouth or paw, the injury can be so bad that it can't hunt. Oh no. And if you can't hunt, you can't eat. Also attacks domestic cattle. If there are people living in the tiger's forest, it may sometimes kill cows, water buffaloes, horses, and donkeys, especially if there's a lack of wild prey animals. As strong as a tiger. As strong as a tiger 1. The tiger is one of the strongest predators on Earth. It can kill prey 5 times its own size. And the tiger already weighs about 250 kilos itself. That means the prey animal can weigh as much as 1,250 kilos. As strong as a tiger 2. A tiger can carry prey that weighs up to 170 kilos. There's a story of a gar, which a Bengal tiger dragged 12 meters, but not even 13 men together could move it. A high jumper. The tiger sometimes takes birds in flight. It is very good at jumping and jumping high. One tiger jumped several meters up in the air and took a drone flying above it. The tiger's enemies. When you're a predator at the top of the food chain, you don't have many enemies. Crocodiles and bears can kill a tiger. A pack of wild dogs can as well. But the most dangerous animal for a tiger is another tiger, and the worst enemy of all is, of course, humans. The tiger's most important weapon. The tiger's big canine teeth are an important weapon once it has taken its quarry. These teeth can be up to 10 centimeters long. A small prey animal is bitten around the neck to break its spine. A larger animal is bitten in the throat, which means it suffocates and the heart can get no blood. The tiger's jaws are incredibly strong since the jawbone goes right up to the top of its head. This is why its bite is so powerful. If you feel your own jawbone, you'll notice that our human jawbones end just under the ears. So it's a hinge action, which you can learn about in science, about leverage and whatnot. A fast runner. The tiger is fast even though it weighs so much. It can maintain a speed of 65 kilometers an hour, but only for a short distance. It is not a long-distance runner. Man-eating tigers. Tigers have also been known to attack people. This happens, for example, in the Sundarban National Park in southeast India, where farmers and fishermen often use the forest. How to fool a tiger. To protect themselves, people in the Sundarban put on a mask when walking in the forest, but they don't put it on their face, but over the back of their head. This way, they can fool a stalking tiger that it has been noticed. A tiger will often break off a hunt if it thinks it has been seen. The problem in the Sundarban is thought to be because there are not many natural prey animals. If you meet a tiger, wild animals are extremely cautious and shy, not least predators. They do everything they can to stay invisible and not attract attention. If you should meet a tiger, though, it is most likely to run away immediately, long before you have time to get your phone out. But with wild animals, you can never be too sure. If it's a female with cubs or a sick or injured tiger, it could attack. So just stay away. That's safest for you and them. Snakes and cars are more dangerous. In India, 40 people are estimated to be killed by tigers every year. 400 people are killed by elephants, 50,000 people are killed by snakes, and 120,000 die on the roads. Almost all tigers are well behaved. Only 1 or 2% of all tigers make a mistake and attack people or domestic cattle. 10 years of research into tigers in Nepal has shown this. Tigers that attack domestic animals or people are either young tigers who have been banished from a territory or old tigers who have lost their territory. They could also be tigers that have had an accident and lost their normal ability to hunt. Play the tiger game. Whose tiger will be the first to the grazing deer in the forest glade? Make your own tiger to play with. So you take toilet paper roll, just the cardboard tube out of it, and you want scissors and looks like crayons. You cut the paper tube in half, and then you split it again, and you cut it a little bit to create the tail. Cut it on the ends, cut out the ends, cut out more. Wait until you're, happy with it and color it. Use a dice if you have one. If not, write the numbers 1 to 6 on small pieces of paper, fold them, and put them in a bowl. When it's your turn, draw a number and move that number of spaces. Now we got a whole game board here. When your tiger wakes up after a lovely day of sleeping in a nice sheltered nook in the jungle, time to find something to eat. When you get a 1 or a 6, your tiger can start walking. Your tiger pads along silently through the forest. Bravo! As a reward, have another turn. Some women collecting firewood come walking along a path. Your tiger has to hide fast. Miss a turn. From here, your tiger has to stalk. It's going well. Move 2 steps ahead. Your tiger spots a flock of jungle fowl and thinks about eating them instead. Miss a turn. Oh dear, the monkeys have seen your tiger and are sounding alarm calls. Go back to the start. Your tiger has to sneak along the ground for the last bit. If it may need a little extra help, move forward 2 steps. Your tiger now has to be perfectly still and wait for one of the deer to get close enough. Get a 1 or a 6 and you've won. The tiger perishes without the forest, and the forest perishes without its tigers. Therefore, the tiger should stand guard over the forest, and the forest should protect all its tigers. From the Mahabharata, an Indian epic. An epic is a long story written in verse, so like poetry, with 100,000 verses from 400 BC. The tiger's habitat. A master of adaptation. The tiger is a cat, and just like domestic cats, it's a master of adaptation. Therefore, it can live in completely different kinds of natural habitats. It seems to thrive just as well in ice-cold Russian winter forests, where it can get as cold as 50 degrees below Celsius, as in hot Indian forests. In India, it can also be 50 degrees Celsius, above 0. Isn't that a great example of how adaptable cats are? What these forests have in common is that they are ideal for animals that hunt alone. A pride of lions wouldn't get on so well there because it's much harder to stick together and hunt in groups. But dense forests, thick bushes, and long grass are ideal for a lone tiger stalking its prey. Stripes are good to have. In nature, there are 2 reasons for being stripy. One is to blend into the background and be hard to see, as in the tiger's case. But stripes can also be a signal that means, I'm dangerous, don't attack me. That's why wasps are striky. But it's not to warn us humans, it's to warn the birds. stripy body. There's an old Swedish saying that these stripes never go out. This is true of tigers, since its stripes are not only on its coat, but also in the skin underneath. A tiger has about 100 stripes. So each of these is 5. That's 5. That's 4. Yeah. So that's, yeah, that's 100. Some of the tiger's forests. Rainforests. The tropical rainforests of Sumatra are dark and humid. The sunshine only reaches the very top levels of the trees. The closer you get to the ground, the darker it is. These rainforests are some of the richest in the world, with thousands of different plants and loads of birds and animals. They are home to orangutans, wild elephants, rhinos, and parrots. The forest is full of sounds, of birdsong, of cries and alarm calls. It's like listening to lots of different concerts all at the same time. Jungle. The Indian jungle is also a very noisy place. This is not a rainforest, but the well-known jungle where the Jungle Book is set, with the boy Mowgli. Shere Khan is the tiger, Bagheera the black panther, and Baloo the bear. Wild roosters crow, peacocks cry, parakeets chatter. A hawk cuckoo, known as the brain fever, repeatedly calls out its name. Brain fever, brain fever, brain fever. If you're very lucky, you might hear a male tiger talking to a female in loud roars. The open grasslands, which can appear as clearings in the forest, are where the herds of chital deer graze. Many of the trees are large shala trees that blossom in beautiful white flowers. In other parts of the jungle are extensive bamboo forests. Russian forests. Here everything is far more quiet and calm. There are ancient forests of deciduous or leafy trees, including lime trees, maple, and birch. There are also trees called stone pines growing here, with pine cones that contain fatty seeds that are important for winter food for the boar and deer, which the tiger lives on. There are Mongolian oaks with precious acorns and Manchurian walnut trees with nuts that are a favorite of many animal species. The ice-cold, snowy winters last for many long months. There are not as many prey animals here as in warmer forests. Because of this, the tigers have a much larger territory. They also roam 10 times farther than those that live in hotter, warmer regions. A Russian tiger can walk 1,600 kilometers. Rivers and floodplains. In Assam, India, the enormous river Brahmaputra meanders slowly through a grassy landscape. The grass is watered and fertilized when the river floods. There is an abundance of food here and all kinds of herbivorous animals. Sambar deer, hog deer, rhinos, wild water buffalo, and elephants graze along the river. Around the edge of the open grasslands lies a dense forest. There are a lot of tigers in this area. 17 tigers live in an area of 100 square kilometers, 10 by 10 kilometers. That's a world record. Mangrove swamp. This habitat could be just as challenging as the Russian forest. The forests that form the famous Sundarban National Park make up the world's biggest mangrove and delta region. It spans parts of India and Bangladesh, where the three rivers Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Meghna flow out into the sea. There are enormous differences in tide water. Sometimes the forest is underwater, while other times it's completely dry. The ground is covered in a gigantic tangle of tree roots. The tigers that live here have plenty of opportunity to swim and paddle. Part of their diet is fish and crabs, but there's richer animal life here than you might think. Big monitor lizards, saltwater crocodiles, marine turtles, wild boar, chital and hog deer, jungle cats and fishing cats, macaques, monkeys, and jungle fowl. The 13 tiger ranges. Today, as much as 93% of the tiger's old land areas have disappeared. But now there are 13 gigantic areas that have been made into special tiger ranges. They are enormous geographical areas with good tiger habitat. A tiger range has what are known as core areas, reserves where the animals are kept alone. The reserves are linked by forests that form corridors where tigers and other animals can roam. Important corridors. Tigers move around a lot. Sometimes they roam very long distances. Young males looking for their own territory can cover 200 to 300 kilometers. So the corridors between the tiger reserves are crucially important for the tigers. However, people also live there, and in some areas there are problems when tigers kill domestic animals. I actually heard about them creating a guard dog program where they'll have 3 dogs who will, bark a lot and alert against tigers. And like tigers don't want to be spotted, so they'll run away. And this has actually helped reduce poaching and, farmer wars with tigers more than anything else has. Which is really nice, because if we can protect tigers by giving people some dogs to have as pets, that's a win-win, right? Anyway, in Russia, tigers vanish magically with leaves. An orange stripy tiger in a white snow-covered forest? Surely that's the world's worst camouflage. You should be able to see it from a long way off, but you can't. In the Russian forests, there are plenty of bushes that have dead orange leaves during the winter. Tigers are almost invisible against such a background. I've also seen white tigers, so maybe they're just albinistic, which is a condition where you lack the color that you normally have. Brilliant swimmers. Tigers are amazing swimmers. They, like jaguars, love water. Unlike most other cats, tigers have massive paws, and when they swim, they spread their toes out and use the skin between them as webbing. They can swim across rivers and lakes and between islands. Tigers sometimes also hunt in water. Tigers in the Nordic region. Tigers could actually live in many other parts of the world, even in the Nordic region, where elk, deer, and roe deer and wild boar could be on the menu. The story of the tiger trees. It's remarkable how things fit together in nature, and quite amazing too. Often, things are very different to what we first thought. Sometimes, it's really surprising to realize how nature actually works. The tiger is a great example. Oddly enough, the key to the tiger's survival is often trees. Here's why. In Russia, tigers mainly eat deer and wild boar. But to make sure there are enough of these animals, they have to have plenty of food during the cold, snowy winter. Deer are grazing animals that eat grass, but during the winter there is no grass. Instead, they live on the small seeds in the cones from the large pine trees. They are also called stone pines, but are also known as umbrella pines. It is the fatty seeds of these trees, the pine nuts, that keep the deer herds alive. These are the same pine nuts, also known as pine kernels, that many humans enjoy eating. Another tiger tree in Russia is an oak called the Mongolian oak. Big piles of acorns fall off the trees, and deer and boar love them. They are very easy to scrape out from under the snow. The third tree is a walnut tree called the Manchurian walnut. The walnuts, which also fall off during the autumn, are fatty and make good food for deer and boar. Unfortunately, some years there are very few pine nuts, acorns, and walnuts. That's just the way nature is. Sometimes there's abundance of food, and this leads to deer and boar having lots of babies, and the tigers have plenty of prey. But other years, there's much less food. During the poor years, It's immediately noticeable that the tigers suffer. When they can't find wild prey, they come to rubbish dumps around towns and villages. But the next year, the trees are full of pine cones, acorns, and nuts again, and the deer and boar can breed well again, and the tigers have plenty of quarry. It may sound like a fairy tale, but it's true. Indian ecology. Monkeys feed chital. During the dry periods, there is no rain at all in India. This means that there's not much grass for the deer to graze on. Instead, the chital move away from the open land and into the forest. They have learned where a certain species of monkey, called the gray langur, lives. They sit up in the trees munching on leaves, flowers, and fruit. They drop a lot of food onto the ground, which the chital deer eat. A single langur can drop 4 kilos of food in a day. The next time your mom tells you that you're a messy eater, tell her that you're not one of those. If there is magic in an animal, it is contained in a tiger. George B. Schaller, Panthera, New York. The Tiger and Mankind, a Sad Story. This chapter is almost only about bad things. Okay, so we're going to stop here because my throat is hurting, and then we'll pick back up on that on another video.